Thanks for watching! If you like this video, be sure to read The Tale of the Order of the Blue Maiden. It's a high-flying adventure. Available now on Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Nobles, and Kobo. You've never heard a tale like this.
Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus, Lord Xerus.
Hey guys, Lord Xerus here. Really short on time today because, I don't know how, but every single freaking time I end up doing these projects on Monday afternoon right before practice. This is kind of a nice, simple project, should be easy to do. Not too many gimmicks today, no skits, no musical numbers, just a short little project that's about strapping these arms. So I purchased these from Northstar Armoury on Etsy.com. Now these arms, they're pretty simple, but they're nice. All they are is just, an articulated elbow with a little bit of leather and some splints to make the forearm. And that's it. That's literally all it is. I purchased these because I was looking for a lighter alternative to my full plate arms, which are awesome arms. They look great, but I'm just finding that I just need to cut weight out of my kit because it's really holding me back. I keep getting trounced. And mostly I believe it's just because I can't really react fast enough, which may or may not be the armor. It could just be me. I am pretty slow. But I figured I'd just give myself an edge and get some lighter arms so, I can actually move them a little faster. These are stainless steel, by the way. Stainless steel elbows here. I'm not sure, but if it is as advertised, these splints should also be stainless steel. So, yeah, let's hope that that's correct, because I don't want these to rust. They're pretty nice, pretty much what I wanted, but the only thing is that they came without straps. So we got to put some straps on there. So the first thing we got to do is we got to track down some hardware for these arms. Okay, so the first thing I do when I have a project like this is I go straight to NadlerMetalCrafts.com to see if they have the hardware that I need. Nadler Metal Crafts has a lot of very specific stuff that's, for armored fighting, whether it's SCA or for Buhurt, ACL or HMB or, any of those other armor leagues. If I do recall, they did offer a strapping kit, which had buckles and straps, which are exactly what I needed for this project. Tandy Leather is another place that you can go and order buckles and straps and stuff like that. Usually the leather actually comes kind of raw, so yeah, that takes a little bit more work. But since I'm doing this right before practice, I don't really have time to order anything, which I guess kind of renders the whole point moot. So what we have to do is we have to look in the scrap bag. I just noticed this bag says hardware on it. The hardware clothing store. That's funny. Anyway, so, I got a bunch of stuff in here. Some old rags. I got some straps here. I got stuff from the lightsaber project. This is some back of the head protection. It's an old pickle barrel that I cut up. Broom handle. All kinds of stuff. Down here at the bottom is all the leather scrap. So kind of gonna have to dump that out. Have to just dump that out on the table. See, yeah, okay. Here's the helmet strapping kit. Remember when we strapped a helmet? Yeah, good times. My most viewed video on the channel to this day. Even though there are some things I would like to change about it. So we gotta look for stuff to strap these arms with, so stuff like this, but we definitely need some buckles. So we got a little flat ring. Probably won't need that. These are the straps I use on my gambeson in order to hold up those plate arms. Those straps came in real handy. I have another set of those, so I think I'll set these aside because they're really great straps. Here's an old belt. This has been in here for quite a time. It's just kind of a very stylish ladies belt. Haven't really found a use for it yet. It's got a little bit of ornamentation on it. It's kind of nice. So let's put that aside. Got a buckle here. Okay, this buckle will fit these big straps. That's good. We need buckles. We need at least 6 buckles. Check out this thing. It's kind of been beat to heck. It's all kind of flattened out and stuff. Beggars can't be choosers right now, so we gotta kind of act quickly. This is a really nice buckle, but it's way too big for this project. Gotta find something to use this on. Oh man, what if I just tied it with just leather ties? Wouldn't that be something? That could work. No? Got some nice strapping in here. A lot of it's too short though, because I've cut this stuff so many times. Okay, it looks like I found the right amount of buckles here. Got another buckle to match that other one, and a couple little tiny buckles. So I think that's all the buckles we need. First thing we gotta do is drill some holes. Because if we can't drill any holes, then this whole exercise will have been for nothing. So, oh no, actually the first thing we need is a piece of dunnage. So we got dunnage here. So we don't drill through our table. Don't drill through your table, kids. Okay, this is gonna be kind of a challenge. So we gotta put our holes in some strategic locations. It's actually a good question. Am I gonna be able to reach this? Can if I angle the drill. Oh boy, okay, I don't know. How is this supposed to work? How am I supposed to strap this? This I could do probably no problem. Oh, spoke too soon. The only thing I can really think of is just drilling one hole back here at the center of the elbow cop and then using that one connection point to attach a strap. But that seems kinda, I don't know. This is a little bit unorthodox. I managed to gain some purchase here. And the way I've done that is I'm basically using the shoulder cop as a brace and bracing the drill. So I use the shoulder cop itself to keep the drill from moving. So not really, I don't know how good of an idea that is. It's not very stable, but I've managed to get a purchase on here. The only problem is that I've kind of been working the drill at these kind of fast speeds, so this metal may already be work hardened. I got a new drill bit, and I also found some oil to lubricate this this drill with. I don't know, to me, using lubrication for a drill seems kind of counterintuitive, but then again, I know people have been doing this for longer than even I've been alive, so there must be something to it, right? The flakes are getting trapped by the oil, so I don't even know if I'm making any progress. Doesn't seem like it. I'm a little puzzled by North Star Armoury's decision to not put, you know, holes for strapping in them. Unless maybe they don't make the elbows. Maybe they get the elbows from someone else. But even so, you know, you'd think they'd tell their supplier to put holes in it for strapping, because this is a real pain in the butt. Oh shit. Okay, this fell down and the oil's been getting into my green screen. I should put the cap on. Put the cap on your oil. I don't think you need to watch all of this. I'll just go ahead and try and drill, and I'll catch up with you later. Alright, so I ordered a bunch of parts for these arms. I ordered some new drill bits, I ordered some buckles, I ordered some straps. So while we're waiting for those things to come in, I decided to go ahead and do something about the color of the leather part of these arms. Now, when I ordered these arms, I was hoping to get black leather. I got brown leather instead. The vendor didn't really give me a choice. I had no expectation of getting black leather, so it was just kind of, you know, dealer's choice in that regard. So I can't really put that on them. I decided that I got the time, I got the ability, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do something about the color. I have this dye laying around, so I'm gonna go ahead and try and dye the leather here. Now, a better solution might be to use leather paint. I'm not overly fond of, like, you know, painting over leather. Paint tends to flake off. There's probably good paints that you can use that will avoid that flaking, but I decided to go ahead and try this dye first to see if I can get any results with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply the dye directly to these arms here and see if that, you know, darkens up the color and makes it look more the way I want it to. There isn't much dye left in this bottle. I've been using this a lot, so I'm just going to pour this out into this cup here. I'm just going to go ahead, take this, and I'm just going to apply this directly to the leather. Normally what you do is you would, you know, soak whatever you're dyeing in the dye, because the hardware's already fastened to this, and, you know, I don't have a tub that's big enough anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this dye directly. Now, I did buy the stainless steel arms, so these splints should be stainless steel. So nothing should be rusting here. I don't have the expectation of having this dye just stay on there like paint. That's not what it's supposed to do. I'm putting the dye on there and let it sit there to let it seep into the leather. Later on, I am going to come over here and clean off the excess dye. The leather should be stained underneath it. What is nice about this dye is that, you know, if I get a little bit on the metal, it should be really easy to clean off because the metal is non-porous. So the metal shouldn't be affected at all by the dye. I do want to try and get under these splints a little bit here. Alright, so that side's done. Let's move on to the other side. Now there's a chance that when I remove the dye here that it won't really have done a whole lot. I'm not sure. Because I have dyed leather before. It doesn't always get as dark, you know, as you want it. The dye is kind of beating up on the leather here, so that tells me that the leather's kind of resisting it a little bit. Do want to let this dye sit on there for a while. Want to get the bristles of the brush underneath the splints there. Alright, so we've coated the leather of these arms with a generous coat of dye here. So now we gotta let it dry, we gotta let it soak in. In a little while, we'll come back and see how well the dye is seeped into the leather, and we'll go about removing the excess. Alright, so the dye on our arms have dried. You might or might not be able to see that the leather here is taking on this kind of very dry, scaly texture. That's the thing I've noticed about RIT dye, which is, well, to be honest, the only dye I've used. When I use it on leather, it leaves this very fine crystalline deposits on the surface of the leather, or as I like to call them, flavor crystals, you know, which kind of shimmer a little bit in the light. Very difficult to capture on camera, but trust me, it's there. When I shift my perspective in the light, the leather kind of has almost like a little shimmery sheen to it. Ordinarily, that'd be very nice, but the problem is that it also leaves a lot of, like, what I describe as very salty trails all over the leather too. If I take these into battle right now, they'll probably get really damp with my sweat, and they might leave like streaks and trails of dye running down, you know, my gambeson or my arms and my hands. So it might get really messy. Equip rubbers! what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start wiping the excess dye off of here. And hopefully get some of those deposits, get them off the leather. And what we should be left over with is a nice dyed surface. I don't want to rub all the dye off. See, look how much of it is coming off there. I'm not exposing the leather's original color, so that's good. I've only dyed leather a few times before. Every time it's been a little different because the leather's never exactly the same. And I've always been dyeing different sides of the leather too. I would dip the leather all the way in. The dye tends to want to just stain the leather and not really truly dye it. Look at that. Look at all that dye that's come off there. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to the other one. Remove the excess dye from that one, and then move on to applying some protectant and sealant and conditioner, to these arms here. So I've done several passes on this, and you can see how much dye is coming off, and still coming off. I'm kind of scared to continue for two reasons. One, because I don't want to strip all the dye off the leather, and the other is because I'm impatient and lazy, and I'm short on time. So I'm just gonna move on here to the next step. Which is adding some mink oil paste. I think you can buy this at any respectable shoe store. You can see I've used quite a bit of this already on my boots. I'm gonna use a towel. I'm not gonna use a paper towel because a paper towel makes a mess. Paper towels get all shredded on the rivets and stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, oh man, that might be overkill right there. Hopefully this mink oil paste is gonna lock in the color a little bit. I don't know if that's necessarily true or even physically possible, but I'm hoping it is. Wouldn't be a Xeris project unless we do things on a wing and a prayer here. Because, actually I do think that probably one of the best solvents I've ever encountered is human sweat. I don't know how, but human sweat just really has this ability to dissolve things in a way that I've just never experienced elsewhere. And also, I was probably not very polite to rub color dyes onto your opponents. You inevitably end up laying a nice layer of tape grease, tape goo, stick grease on your opponents. This is actually looking pretty nice. Some of the dye is bleeding into the towel, but that's kind of to be expected, so hopefully this mink oil paste doesn't corrode our metal. I definitely tend to go overkill on this kind of stuff, because I'm just never sure. Is it enough? Did I put enough on there? I think we have succeeded. I think we've succeeded in dyeing our leather and revitalizing it and restoring its nice leathery sheen. Good stuff. So here's the arm that we started drilling last week, and we did make a little bit of progress here. We made a little hole. So I got these cobalt drill bits off Amazon here, so to replace the ones that I used that were all basically dull. These cobalt drill bits are pretty much the best thing I found in order to drill into stainless steel, into hardened steel and things like that. It's slow going. Obviously, a drill press would probably work better, but I don't have one. I don't know why I still haven't invested in a drill press. I just feel like every time I get close to buying a drill press, I feel like, I've probably done all the armoring I'm gonna do. Probably don't need a drill press now. It's just gonna sit in the garage and take up space, and then I'll never do anything with it. But yeah, that always proves not to be the case. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is I got the machine oil here. Just gonna put a little bit on there just to lubricate it. And I still don't know if this is the best way to go about it. I wonder if that's maybe why my drill bits keep wearing down so quickly. It's because I don't use any lubrication. Ugh, this oil. It's the problem with this oil. It gets everywhere. And now it's going to be on this towel. It'll probably be on my camera. Oh boy, oh boy. All right. Relax. Let's see. You see there? Made it through. Got a nice hole there. Might need to clean it up a little bit. All right, so we just got to move on to the next hole. Here, this is going to be a little bit more tricky because this fan is not going to give us a clear angle where we want to go. I think this is about as far as we're going to get right here. I mean, it's not very stable, but it's the best we can do at the moment. So let's get a little bit more oil. Lubrication's important. Any grown-up will tell you. I don't love this position. I don't love this spot right here, and in fact, I might have to move it back a little bit if I can't get any purchase. So I found this tool. I believe this tool is called a nail. This is a nail specifically for creating holes, okay? For making little divots in metal and other materials. That's where I want my hole to be. So I'm gonna try and make an indentation there. Okay, so this, in theory, should make a little indentation, and the little indentation should be ready to receive the drill here. Oh no. Yeah, okay, I'm not really having much success there. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is just find a place that where the drill can find some equilibrium, which is going to be a lot farther back than I wanted it to be. But I don't think we really have any choice. Am I having any effect whatsoever? Yes. Don't want to go too fast. Go low RPMs. Okay, I do see some material coming off there. Actually, looks like we're making some progress. Let's clean out that debris, because debris is probably dulling our progress. Okay. Oh boy, okay. See that smoke? Actually, we made it through. Wow, okay. Continue with the same arm and make some more holes here. Alright, hopefully these will be a little bit easier to drill in there. I didn't put any lubrication on there just because I'm hoping this will help me get through the metal a little quicker. Okay, we got a little divot. Oh boy. So as I was saying before, drilling into this piece was actually a lot easier than drilling into this piece. And I'm surmising that the reason is because this curved piece was probably beaten into shape on an anvil, which means that it was worked a lot more and is therefore more work hardened than this piece here. This piece was only curved along this one axis, while this one was actually dished out. You can see it has a lot more wear patterns on here. That's my guess anyway. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but it was way easier to drill into this piece than it was to drill into that piece. All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and do this off camera for a little bit. I'm gonna give the camera a rest because I think my camera's overheating, and I'll check back within you when these holes are all drilled, because I don't really think you need to see all of this. So here's a weird little detail. The drill, rather than just kind of shredding through the metal like it usually does when it gets to the end, it actually made a little cap and then it pushed it out into the wood. It's upside down right now, but like I can't see if I can pick this up. It's too small, but you see, okay, there's a little divot over here. So the metal was actually in that little divot. And I was through the metal and I didn't know. I was still drilling. I'm like, oh, that's weird. It feels like I'm through, but I'm not through because I can see that there's still metal there. But it turned out that the metal just kind of came out. Once it got thin enough, the drill bit just pushed it out. I just thought that was interesting. Drilling's all done. I got my holes. I got 4 holes in here, exactly where I need them. I haven't punched holes in the leather yet because I'm realizing that this leather actually is a little bit oversized. I might have to trim in just about every direction here. So I'm going to save that for last. I did receive these nice, beautiful buckles in the mail. I don't know if you can see that. They're very beautiful. And actually, I can easily replace some of the hardware I had lined up already. I definitely don't want to use these because these are kind of jacked up. They're kind of flattened out from fighting, so they don't look awesome. I did have a lot of these left over. These are fine. These are perfectly good buckles. However, they are a little awkward to use. They're not very fast or convenient because they just have a lot of like corners and stuff that stuff can get, can snag on. So I don't necessarily want to use those. Not only are these new buckles very beautiful, but they're also roughly the same size as these other buckles I was using. So I think that I might actually be able to get away with actually using the same little straps here and just replacing the buckle. So I might have a better looking buckle. Not just a better looking buckle, but also one that doesn't have that little weird corner in there that's going to snag the belt that I'm going to use. I also found these, which were supposed to be chin straps back in my first helmet video. When I prepared my helmet for the SCA, the one I got from a classic handicraft. I held on to these because these look nice and they look kind of usable for something. I don't know what. I think finally I found a use for them. I'm just going to cut these up and punch some holes in them, and I'm going to use them here on my elbows. All right, so this strap is actually usable, but it does need to be trimmed a little bit. It looks a little ragged. There. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these straps from these buckles and put them onto these really nice buckles that I just got in the mail. And they already have the little slot cut in them because they need a little slot for the tongue. Get in there. Get in there, you. And then just stick that through there. So we got a nice little buckle there that's got a hole ready for the Chicago screw. So we'll just put that aside. We got that done. All right. I don't remember the exact name of the store that I bought these from. It's like Viking Armory or something like that on Etsy. I'll put that link to that below. I actually bought 10 of these thinking I was going to need 6 of them, but I actually don't need 6. I only need 4. Oh, oops! It's not a Xeris project unless something falls on the floor. so we got 4 buckles here. We got 4 down here, and then this is these 2, which makes 6. I'm gonna just pull these straps apart, put that buckle aside. And these are still very nice, usable buckles. Still use them for something, just not for this. You want to get these on and off relatively quickly, because these are the same style of buckles that I have on my metal arms. So I actually was fortunate enough to happen upon another little strip that has the little slot cut in it. Some of these, the holes are kind of small, so I do need to punch holes in them. So let's do that right now. Ironically, even though I like black aesthetically as a color, it makes things very difficult to work on because you can't really see what you're doing. Of course, the leather's black, the tool is black, so I can't really see where this hole's gonna end up. Ugh, all right. I think that's pretty good. Truth be told, these probably need to be a little bit longer. Can make adjustments later. I kind of just want to get this done. All right, so we got 3 extra strips. They've got nice big holes for our Chicago screws. Actually need to cut these up and punch holes in them too. I am not gonna even try to disassemble this rivet here. This is gonna be a nightmare if I try to undo this. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this. These actually might be just a little bit too narrow. This is kind of a narrow strip to be using with the hole that's the size of this Chicago screw. Okay, no, that actually seems about the right size, so. Not quite centered. I'm surprised this leather punch still works. I've abused this leather punch so much. I'm pretty sure I've beaten it into the concrete before, but it still does great. It still cuts the holes. Okay, good. I think we got our straps. I did experiment with putting the felted side out, but I think I just want to put the patent side out, or the smooth side out, or whatever you call that. I don't know if that's the right word for that. I'm so lucky to have found these strips that already have these slots cut in them, because trust me, that is a real pain in the butt to do. I'm kind of pressed for time, so I don't really want to do that. I hate getting things in under the wire. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. All right, so to fasten these to our arms, we're going to be using our handy dandy little friends here, Chicago screws. I have gunmetal gray ones. I thought I might use those, but come on, let's get real. It's me we're talking about. I'm gonna use the brass ones. Putting the Chicago screw through there. So I'm gonna take the screw side here. Stick it up through the hole. And boom. Oh, God damn it. Okay, let's do it this way. Put that there, twist it. All right, now what I didn't get was my screwdriver. Where's my screwdriver at? Okay, this isn't the one I was looking for, but this will have to do. Actually, that's the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. I put this in the wrong place, so I'm gonna have to undo this. I am not very smart. You wanna put the strap on top and the buckle on the bottom. Of course, these things are curved so that they don't lay in a way that is convenient for you in any way, shape, or form. So everything gives you a cramp in your hands as you're holding them and trying to put everything together. I am noticing these strappy bits are a bit short. If I were doing this all from scratch, I probably would have made these a little bit longer. But that's okay, because that's going to be compensated by our strap here. Oh, which I haven't cut yet. I was supposed to cut this belt. Well, we'll deal with that in a minute. Right now, let's deal with the hardware here. It's kind of hard to see that these buckles have a little divot. So there is a right side and a wrong side. You want that divot to go on the side that you're going to put the belt through. Put it in backwards, you're going to be smacking yourself in the forehead. This little screwdriver actually does come in handy. Although the longer screwdrivers tend to be a little bit more stable, but these ones are good for tight spaces. So, all right, so I got this in here. These elbow ones are a little bit tricky to do because you want to put the Chicago screw in on the outside here. And then you want to add the strap, because these straps have to be on the inside. The length of Chicago screw is actually working out fairly well. Hopefully that's found its groove there. Sometimes you screw these things together, you're just turning it and it never tightens. So you gotta do the same thing over here with this little guy. You'll pop that guy in the outside there, and then take your strap, lay your strap on there, and then get your post, turn it in there, put in place. So once I have these situated in a place where I'm satisfied with them, I will go ahead and use thread lock on them. That'll make it harder for them to come loose. These have a distinct disadvantage over rivets, that they are constantly coming loose. The vibrations from your hits and stuff. Not always, but a lot of times they will loosen by themselves, and you don't want that. So thread lock helps slow that process down a lot. The only negative is that, and then at some point you want to remove these things, and then it becomes a near impossible Herculean task. As you have borne witness on this channel many times. My camera's overheating again. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the camera off for a little while and add the other straps, and then I'll catch up with you in a minute. Okay, so far so good. I've got our straps in there. I gotta test them to see if they'll actually fit around my arms, because that's actually still a question. Might have to punch some more holes in this. So anyway, we need some more straps, so We got this belt. I don't love it, but this thing has just been sitting in my collection for a lot of time now, so I just want to use it for something. And it's kind of nice. It's got some nice details on there, but I don't necessarily want to wear it as a belt, so why not use it as straps? So I'm going to cut it up into quarters here. Actually, if I cut it up into quarters, it might not be quite long enough. Shoot, should have thought of that sooner. Why don't we punch the holes in it, attach it, and then see how long we need? That's a good idea. So I punched holes in these, and now I can affix them to the arms here. Just wrap it around my arms and then see how much length I actually need. There we go. There. Important note, this belt is not actually made out of leather. It's made out of something synthetic. I'm not sure exactly what. It looks very similar to leather, and it behaves in a very similar way as well, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Time to put this on my arm and kind of try to size it up. It's fitting reasonably well. I need to still punch holes in this piece of leather. This strap is a little bit too short. When I put the gambeson on there, it might be a little bit problematic, but as long as I punch another couple of holes in here, I think I'll be okay. This strap is certainly long enough, so we do need to cut it somewhere, probably around right at the end of this little metal design here, which leaves us with less than I wanted. But it might still be enough, actually, because, you know, this won't need very much to close up, because this is already overlapping so much, so we can put the buckle and the strap really close together, and it doesn't really need to cover that much distance. Now, what I am noticing, though, is that the cuff here is just a little bit too long. The splints might even be a little bit too long, but I think that I can get away with just trimming about 1/4 of an inch off, and that'll, you know, land in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I should leave extra room for the gambeson, because the gambeson will make it a little bit puffier. So, well, I'm going to go ahead and make those adjustments right now. All right, first things first. I'll put 2 more holes in the strap here. Should do it for that strap. This one might need 3 or 4 more. What's nice about this buckle, it doesn't have one of those little hoops at the end, so it doesn't necessarily need too much overage in order to work properly. I'm gonna trim this here, and I'm actually gonna trim it along this design here because it's got this nice design, so I'm gonna give it that nice little point. I do appreciate these little beads or sequins or whatever they are. It was very kind of a, you know, like basically a woman's belt. Actually, I shouldn't say that because this design, you know, kind of androgynous. Could be kind of manly if you put it in the right place, right? Little sequin diamonds there. Whatever. I like it. That's the point. It works. It works for what we're doing. So, all right, now we got to put holes in this too. So this tongue is kind of a chunky boy. So we're going to use that same, or should we use thicker holes maybe? Let's try it. Let's just stick with the same size holes that we got right now. No, okay, it's a little bit too narrow. So let's use the next size up here. That made it through. So let's go down and put a bunch of holes in there. Don't want to put them too close together because I don't want to weaken the material. How many holes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 holes. Oh, I always miss. I always start getting this off center. I don't know how. Ah, see, that one's off center too. Shit happens. All right, so we've got our straps here. They're a little bit uneven. They don't look the same, which is a shame. But I do think these will be long enough. Put these aside for now. I'm gonna trim about 1/2 inch, or a little less, a little under 1/2 inch. No, more like 3/4 of an inch. No, sorry, about 3/8 of an inch. I'll probably trim about 3/8 of an inch off of this. A little bit more than 1/4, like 1/8 of an inch off these splints. Get this nice and rounded here. There. Not ideal, but you know what? I think that's about as short as I want to go for now. I don't want to trim all the way down to these splints because that'll probably be uncomfortable. I want to leave some material there as a buffer. Round that off there. Boom. Okay, so we got clear tops and bottoms. And like we've been doing, we put our straps on the top and the buckles on the bottom. I just feel that's a cleaner way of doing it because that way you don't have extra strap that's just sticking up outwards, you know, away from you and just kind of flapping around like that. You don't want that. You want the straps to be kind of tucked away down, you know, away from your opponent towards the back of your body so that it looks a little neater. In combat, you don't want to give your enemy any opportunity to grab onto you, although that's not going to happen in SCA, or at least it shouldn't. Let's grab our Chicago screw here. This Chicago screw might not be long enough because we do need to get through 3 layers of leather here, and this might actually not be long enough. So we need to grab some more fasteners. So we were using these little guys here that have 1/8 of an inch post, but instead we need to use these guys over here that have 1/4 inch post, okay? because that's gonna make it all the way through 3 layers of leather. You can see the buckle's got 2 layers of leather that we got to get through. Or at least you could see it if I weren't holding black leather in my black gloves. Pop that through there. See, we got a little bit of extra peeking through. And that will go flush against here. And that one we screw in the back there. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, I gotta say, because I frequently forget. And of course, right doesn't really help unless you realize that right means clockwise. I think that's tightened all the way. Nope, it's not. When you start doing this a lot, you can kind of get a feel of when something's tight. It is now tightened all the way, and it's just turning freely now, so. Oh yeah, I forgot to punch holes in these. First, we gotta trim them. Oh god, is this thing not focusing? Come on, focus, you. What are you doing? Doing this for camera just adds another wrinkle. Makes it so I can't do it comfortably. I'm always kind of stretching my arms in a weird and uncomfortable way. Sometimes I wish I could just do this without documenting it, but then you guys would miss out, and you wouldn't learn from my mistakes. That's the whole point of this, for you guys to learn from my mistakes. Okay. Alright, that's done. Alright, so I'm gonna go punch holes in those straps. Alright, so I went ahead and punched those big holes in there. Now I also have to punch these little holes in there. I think that in this case we'll be able to get away with using the 1/8" fasteners because we're only going through 2 layers of leather and not 3. Put the strap on top. Here we go. Put that in there. Oh, that's nice and tight. Nice and tight. Here we go. Now put the other one on. Okay. Alright. I think we did it, guys. We got everything assembled with only 10 minutes to spare. Alright, guys. So, success. I was able to put this on. There are still many issues with putting these straps on. They are both simultaneously a little bit too short and a little bit too stiff. So, getting them through the buckles is kind of a challenge, especially if I'm just doing it by myself. But the upshot is that everything fits. These arms are super light, so I am liking them so far. The only problem is that, you know, there isn't really much armor here on the inside of the arm, so that might be an issue. Usually that's mitigated by the gauntlets, so that hopefully won't be too much of an issue. But they are nice and light. You know, just for comparison's sake, these are my old arms. Well, you can see that they're incredibly heavy. The coverage is superior, of course, but these are so heavy that they do inhibit my movement, and it can be kind of a hassle. And actually, I actually have cut quite a significant amount of material off of these in order for them to be more usable. But it didn't really seem to help. I mean, I cut them, but they really kind of still felt the same weight overall. And, you know, they are quite hefty. They really kind of encumbered my movement, so that's why I went ahead and purchased these, so that, you know, I'd have something much lighter to work with. Maybe they don't protect as much. I'm gonna try them out and see. Once things are situated in a place where they're satisfactory, I'll lock them in place with the thread lock, and that'll be it. So our arms are looking pretty good. All our buckles are installed here. Oh, I did have to make one change while you weren't looking. Sorry about that. Is that these straps were not long enough. I went ahead and put on my gambeson, my thickest gambeson, and tried strapping this by myself, and I couldn't do it. So what I did is that I just removed them from, you know, their anchor points here and added a few inches of more strap. I did the same thing over here because this strap also was not long enough, and I did it on both arms. Another issue that I encountered is that the inside of these arms are not very well protected. So, you know, if I button this up here, you notice the splints are on the outside of the arm, and then that just kind of leaves this area kind of unprotected. I feel like if I get a strong hit right here, might leave me open to a fracture, even a small one in your arm. Probably not very pleasant. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put just a couple of improvised plates on there. I went through my collection of scrap metal and I dug out these old shoulders. You guys remember these old shoulders? I cut these little shoulders out of these big ones here because these were way too big. And they left me with a lot of extra material here. What I think I'm gonna do, because I have these nice curved sections here, is I'm just gonna cut a few inches of plate here off of these, and then use them to put a little section of scales right on the inside of my forearm. That'll do well, very well, to protect my forearm from any blows that go in there. I'm just very skeptical that this is going to protect me if I get hit right there. The chances of me breaking a bone, probably very slim. But, you know, there's always a chance, and I tend to be a little bit paranoid about that. So we've done up the arm here, we just gotta measure this. So it looks like we got about 5 inches to cover, 4.5, 4.25, or 4 3/4 rather. I think 4.5 is probably plenty. Let's say 4 3/4. 4 3/4. And coming down here, about 4 even, and then here, like 3.5. Probably only need 2 pieces per forearm. How do we want to position this exactly? Kind of want to measure this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, my Sharpie's running out of ink. All right, let's see if this marker works. There we go. Notice that these shoulders are kind of oddly shaped, so... And of course, my lines aren't exactly completely straight either, so... And then by the time I get to cutting them, who knows? Alright, so the lengths on here kind of worked out, so I can get the pieces that I want with minimal cutting, which is always very time-consuming and very loud. Let's see if we can get that done without bothering the neighbors. Let's get to cutting! You know, I've been using the same grinding wheel for almost the entire time I've had this channel. This grinding wheel's done some work. It's almost time for me to change that one out. Still got a little bit of life to give, so let's give it one more shot here. Don't forget your eye protection, okay? Safety first. Alright, so I've got all our pieces here. They're all a little bit wonky, so I think I'm going to put the larger pieces on my right arm, my sword arm, and the smaller pieces on my left arm, which is going to be my shield arm. Maybe help balance the weight out a little bit. I know all these shapes aren't the same, and it'll probably drive me nuts if I start thinking about it, so I'm just not going to think about it. I'm just going to hit these real quick with my flap wheel, the corners here, so that there aren't any ragged, sharp edges. And I'm going to, probably grind down the corners a little bit too. Alright, so I got my 13/64 cobalt drill bits here. That size is in order to accommodate the Chicago screws that I use regularly. They're made out of cobalt, which is just about the best material you can use for a drill bit, drilling into hard steel like this. Or at least the best material that I know of. I know that there's titanium drill bits. I don't know how well they would work in this situation. If you know, go ahead and leave me a note in the comments. I wouldn't mind knowing about that. I'm going to put a little bit of lubrication on here. I don't need to use dunnage because I got holes in the table here. Let's say put it in the center. There we go. And then I'm going to use a nice low RPM. This hardened spring steel. I forget what it is. I have to refer back to my video called "A Shoulder to Grind On," in which I discuss exactly what kind of steel this is. So I might have to look it up and put it down in a caption. I just remember that this steel is very tough to work with. Might not be able to get this done before practice today, which is a bummer. Oh my goodness, it's overheating. I just toasted the end of my drill bit. Alright, you can see we are doing something. I switched that drill bit out for a fresh one, and hopefully we'll get a little bit better results here. Oh, I see what happened. We made it through. There's always a little bit of weird hesitance right at the end with metal. You make it right through, and then the metal kind of gets snagged, and it kind of goes a little crazy. Part of the reason I chose this metal in particular, these scraps, is because they already had holes in them. and I knew that all I had to do was just widen the holes a little bit rather than drilling all the way through the metal. They were also kind of shaped the correct way, so I had to do a minimal amount of work on these to get them to work. Get rid of the debris, put some more oil on there. This oil does seem to help. Oh boy, okay. That's what happened, you know, right at the end. That's what mangles these drill bits. Ah, Jesus. Oh my goodness. You see the little smoke coming off there at the end. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, well, I completely ran out of time. So I'm only going to do the right arm because drilling these holes takes such a friggin' long time. I wasn't able to drill all of them. And I got to head out to practice. Okay, let's make sure we got the right ones here in the right order. Yeah, okay, that's not right. It's like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place them where they go on the arms. And then I'm going to poke holes in the leather. So I'm making little marks where I'm going to punch my holes. And luckily I'm not stabbing myself in the finger because that can be kind of a problem sometimes. And then these go here. Where are these going to go? These can go a little lower. Oh, where'd my tool go? Oh no, where'd my tool go? Oh, I'm holding it. Haha! I'm holding my tool. Alright, let that be a lesson to you. I don't know what the lesson is, but let that be a lesson. I meant to get the sharp tool, but I guess this isn't the sharp one. Alright. Okay, now we're ready to punch our holes. Think I'll be able to punch holes on the surface? Oh, actually worked. I guess I didn't have to do that on concrete all those times. It's awfully loud though, but we're almost done. Let's move it a little bit. Yeah, the resonance of the table seems to matter a lot in this situation. There we go. Alright, that's working good. Almost out of film. Alright, so basically screwed these in. All you have to do is just pop this in your newly widened hole there, behind the post in the back there. And where's my tool? Here it is. And the screwdriver slips out and it marks the leather. It's the worst. I don't know if you saw that. I screwed that in. That might have been out of focus. I'm sorry. You notice that I'm using these gunmetal ones. I ran out of the brass ones, so I have a very small supply of the brass ones, and for the sake of matching, I went ahead and used these gunmetal ones. They're nice enough. They have that really cool texture, those really cool ridges on the inside of there, and that really grips the leather really well. But the only problem is that right now those are facing the metal, so they're not really doing me any good right now. When you do use them against leather, they grip really well. It's a really nice feature. Got the lightweight metal here. That's nice protection for the inside of our arm there, so our wrist is not any more exposed to getting our bones hurt or anything. What I might want to do is add something similar to the outside, maybe just kind of like, little ribs or something. But for now, this will do. This will just have to do. All we can do right now is test this. And of course, later on, I gotta add the same thing to the inside here. And hopefully, doing up this buckle won't be too difficult. All right, I'm really running out of footage, and I gotta get to practice. So, all right, that's it. That should be it for now. All we can do is test this, and hope that it works out. Hopefully, it's not too hard to do up this buckle with one hand. Might need some help from our friends, and then hopefully later on I'll have time to drill more of these holes and to add that to the left arm there. Okay, so I'm actually filming this like a couple of years after all that other stuff, just so you know. I've been using this arm for quite some time now, and they actually work really well. I have no complaints about them. And you can see that I've added the plates. Where are they? They're back here. They're in there, somewhere in there. These arms have been successful. They've served me very well for the past year or so that I've been using them. All right, come on, let's go out and fight. Alright, so I'm fighting with these arms. They actually are a lot lighter. They do let me move a lot faster than the previous arms I had, which are actually so heavy that they weigh down the damn thing. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I'm filming this a long time after filming all the previous parts of the video, and I actually have improved a lot. I'm not sure if you can tell, but something about the weather lately. So I'm actually feeling as winded and as tired as I did back in the day, around the time when I actually made these arms. So, you know, them's the breaks. But anyway, alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And don't forget our motto. No le teme utsujire. Don't be afraid to suck. I'll see you on the battlefield. What?